Hi, this is my project, The Road to Good Behavior at Topsail Annandale Elementary by Sherry Parrish. The purpose of this is using the SIT data. From the Topsail Annandale Elementary, we're trying to decrease the behavior in the high-flying students. We're trying to get office referrals down for students who have frequent behavior problems. And I came about this by sitting down with Jessica Bellflower, who is the principal, and we reviewed what the SIT goals were. And the SIT goals for Topsail Annandale were based off of the Teacher Working Conditions Survey. And basically, after looking at the three goals, we figured that what we should try and attack for this project was basically on the focusing on good behavior for some kids who had had repeat referrals the previous year. So there were three students that I was looking at specifically. At the time of this data, when I collected it, it was at the beginning of the year, so there were already 2 referrals for this school year and for student A, and then they had 5 referrals from last year. For student B, we had 7 referrals for this year already, and then 24 referrals for last year. Student C also had 4 referrals for this year, and then 16 from last year. And the chart that you're seeing there is basically, I went in and asked the teachers, I did a survey for them to try and figure out how I could help them the best way. And I asked them and I did this kind of at the beginning of the year, around mid-September, and asked them to rate how their students' behavior was at the beginning of the year. And basically, both of them, one person said that it was around a level 2, with level 1 being the worst and level 5 being pretty great. And then I had an even part for 2 of the students. When I was talking with the teachers and looking at the survey, some of the best practice language that came out and said were that some days are excellent, some days he has minor issues, and then there are days where the behaviors are consistently present. Another best practice language that one of the stakeholders used, the teacher there, she said she seems to hold it together better in the morning and with the subjects that don't require as much writing. So that was kind of a pattern that we could look for to try and see if we can alleviate that. Some of the other language practice is that one of the students has impulsive behaviors, being disrespectful to others, not keeping hands to self, and disrupting class with inappropriate behaviors. And I actually had something, an actual quote from one of the students, and he said, I acted like a fool. I would not listen to anything that anyone was saying. So he actually realized what was going on with himself, and after he had calmed down and was able to get himself together. As I was doing some research on this, we noticed that the classroom management is, one of the research pieces said the classroom management is not about controlling students or demanding perfect behavior. Instead, effective management is about supporting students to manage themselves throughout daily learning and activities. So if we can help these kids realize what's going on, hopefully that behavior will stop and they'll improve as they continue to go through school, because once again, this was an elementary setting. Another research language quote was, the intervention is based off principles and practices research has shown to be helpful in creating successful classroom management, such as communicating clear expectations to students, giving more positive encouragement compared to negative reprimands, and moving around the classroom to monitor student behavior. So with this one, basically just making sure that the expectations are said in the beginning and that they're consistently followed through, which sometimes in the heat of the moment it is kind of hard to do, but the more consistent with these kids we can be, the better. And finally, I really like this about applied behavioral analysis is a process in which educators can solve a problem behavior by identifying its triggers, the perceived reward for the student exhibiting it, and finding an appropriate behavior that satisfies the need the student is looking for. And that's just looking at the reward system and trying to make sure we're taking care of the students. My timeline was basically, I started at the beginning of school, so I was surveyed the teachers asking about the behavior, met with some of the students to kind of develop a rapport with them, discuss, survey with teachers to see if there was a pattern in their behavior, discuss with students where they thought their behavior problems were, one student particularly, and this student I tried to identify, it seems like recess was a problem for all of them, so we tried to find out stuff with recess, see what was going on, and this process is actually going to take all year long. I'm not stopping it just because I'm done with the project. The impact compared to last year, referrals are down slightly with some of the students. One student struggles with making friends at recess. I went out there with her and we practiced together together to ask how to play. Then she went out and played with them. She continues to play with others, still taking some time to herself. I'm working with all students and the counselors on coping strategies to help when they feel frustrated and going out of control. And these were some of the questions in the survey that I asked for the teachers to fill out for me. And like I said, I'm going to continue with this project with these students and continue monitoring them.